Today we're going to cover how to wire an automatic door. So this can be used for a handicap button or something similar to that. So for this scenario, this is going to be one for business hours and then outside of business hours. So during business hours, the door must be unlocked. Pressing the ADA button will activate the actuator. Triggering the Rex will activate the actuator, and presenting a card doesn't activate the actuator. So outside of business hours, the door must be locked. Pressing an ADA button does not activate the actuator. Triggering a Rex unlocks the door and activates the actuator, and presenting a card unlocks the door and activates the actuator. So I'm going to go ahead and put up a little graphic of the wiring template. You'll see here, you'll have your card reader wired up as normal. You'll have your ADA button as well, and that'll go to one of your inputs. Your Rex, same thing, will go to one of your inputs, and a door contact as well. And then you'll have your door actuator, which is provided by the door company, and then you'll have your magnetic lock or your strike. So if we go to a door, I'm going to go ahead and create a door here, and this is a fictional door because I don't have an actuator in my environment here. So I'm just going to head and call this ADA door test, and I'll just assign it to one of these panels. The door mode we're going to want to be card only. The custom mode we're going to want to be unlocked. The custom schedule, I'm just going to do the weekday schedule that I have built in here, but you can change that to whatever schedule you have. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit log grants right away, and then I'm going to check log all access as used and go ahead and hit save here. So then I'm going to go to the hardware tab here, and I'm going to go ahead and select a reader. I'll select my door contact. I will assign a strike, and I'm not going to assign a Rex. So now if I go back to that panel, and I click the subpanel, and then I'm going to go ahead and select this little inputs icon here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this secondary input here, and I'm going to call it my ADA. And under CAN macros, I'm going to select input alarm, and I'm going to select the same schedule as the door here. And then I'm going to select the output that's controlling the door actuator, which is going to be this one right here. And I'll go ahead and hit save macro and save this. So now we're going to go ahead and create two global actions. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and hit add a global action. And then I'm going to call this one grant, and this type will be door grant. And I'm going to go ahead and select the door that we're working on here. Make that a member and hit save. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my second global action, which is the actuator. So I'm going to go ahead and select output. And the type I'm going to change to pulse. And I'm going to go ahead and select my activator output. And go ahead and hit save here. Now I'm going to create two global linkages. Today we're going to cover how to configure a 5-second delay before unlocking a door. So the first thing we're going to do is go to physical access and then the doors page. And then go ahead and select a door or add the door if it's not already in the system. And we're going to want to check this log all events, all access as used. And go ahead and hit save. And on the hardware tab, we're going to go ahead and remove the strike and go ahead and hit save. Then go to physical access and panels, and you go ahead and select the panel that you're working with, and go ahead and hit macros and hit add a macro. You can go ahead and name this if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and call it test macro. Hit OK, and then we can go ahead and hit macro command, and I'll call this delay 5 seconds. And the command will be delay in seconds. The seconds will be 5. And I'll go ahead and make this group A. And go ahead and hit save. Alright, so once I'm back here, I'll go ahead and hit add macro command. And I'll call this unlock door for access. I will select my command, which will be output control. I'll select my output. Function will be a single pulse. The on time will be 5 seconds. And this will also be group A. Go ahead and hit save. So it should look like this. You'll notice I'm in my test macro section, and then I have my 2 macro commands right here. And then we'll go to the triggers tab. We'll hit add a trigger, and we'll call this local grant at main lobby. I'll mark it enabled. I'll make my schedule 24 hours active. If you have a certain schedule you want this to fall under, you can go ahead and enable that. I'll select my test macro. I will do execute only actions A. The source type will be a door. And I'll go ahead and select my door there. The event type will be formatted card number. And the event will be access granted full test used. You can leave everything on the side here the same. Go ahead and hit save. At this point you should have a delay on that door, so every time you swipe your card, it'll wait 5 seconds before it unlocks.